One of the important concepts in any programming languages is collections or data structures that we can use to store a group of data. Uh, so in fact, or in the real world, always we have situation that we need to store or keep information about a group of objects or maybe a group of tasks, processes, and those kind of things. So the collection will help us to store those kind of information. Let's to see what we have in the Python. So list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. There are 4 different kind of collections that we have in the Python. And these are fundamental data structures to store a group of data. For example, let's say in a school, when they want to store, for example, student name in a class, so we have a multiple name. So we cannot declare multiple variables to store each student names. Instead of that, we try to store all of the student name in one class inside a collection. So the collection, as I mentioned in the they have a different characteristics, and based on their features and functionality, we can use them in a different situation. But let's see how we can declare, for example, list. The list or a list is a group of items or values or items that we separated them by a comma and we put them inside a square bracket. So if you put a group of value such as that, for example, a list of fruits, the name of the fruits, each value is a string, and we put multiple string and we separate them by a comma inside a square bracket. So in fact, we created this fruit list. Tuple. Instead of square bracket, if you put the value inside the parentheses, so we are creating a tuple. For example, for coordinates. So when you are trying to use the GPS, in fact, we have the coordinates, and each coordinates has a 2 value that we try to put inside the parentheses. To declare a set, we need to use the curly brackets. If we put the values and separate them with a comma inside the curly bracket, in fact, we are creating a set. So in this case, I try to show you the same thing. So we have the fruit list on the top, but if you change the surrounding character from the square bracket to curly bracket, in fact, the curly bracket create a set. We will discuss about the differences between those kind of collection, and each of them they have some specific characteristics, so we need to consider them. And finally, we have the dictionary. In the dictionary, dictionary is very similar to real dictionary. So in a dictionary, we have a keyword, and using this keyword, we try to find a definition. So in the Python, we have the same things. Inside the curly bracket again, we have a key, for example, in this case, a name, and then with colon, we try to assign a value to this key. So the key is name and the value is Alice. The key is age. So this is a one item or element in the dictionary. Then we separate that one from the next item. The next item key is age and value is 30. And again, this element will end and the next element will start. City, the value is New York. So they have some similarity and they have some differences. Let's see what is the similarity between those 4 collection. The first similarity is iterable. So all of those collection is iterable. It means they can store multiple items, and we can use a loop such as a for or while loop to iterate through the item of those collection, and then we can run some sort of operation on them. Mixed data types. So in fact, they can store elements of different data types, including number, strings, or even other collection. For example, if you have a list, the first item can be a string, the second item can be a number, the third item can be another list. So as a loops, if you remember in the loop we mentioned we have the nested loop. We can put one or place one, for example, for loop inside a while, or one for loop inside another for loop, and we call them nested loop. We have the same concept here. We can put, for example, a list inside another list, or a dictionary inside a list, or a list inside a dictionary, and so on. So it provide a lot of flexibility for us to manage the different data type that we have. Mutable or immutable. So list, set, and dictionary are mutable, which means you can modify their content after creation. So in this case, it means when we create a list, so for example, we can change the element of the list or a set or a dictionary, but we need to be careful because tuples, on the other hand, they are immutable. It means we cannot change the value inside the tuple. So in fact, if you put a value, multiple value between the parentheses, it will immutable. It means we cannot change the value inside these parentheses. And the key differences between the collection. The first difference is the order. List and tuples, they are order collection. It means they have the first item and the second, there is a order between the item inside the list, and they try to maintain the order of the element. But set and dictionary, they don't have order, and in fact, inside the set, we cannot have duplicate value. But in a list, we can have a duplicate value, but in a different index or in different places. And dictionary try to use the key to access, and because of that, the order, it doesn't matter. Mutability, as we mentioned here as well, list, set, and dictionary are mutable. It means we can change the value inside those collection, but tuple will not allow you to change the value. Duplication or duplicates. As I mentioned again, list and tuple can contain duplicate element because they have order and they try to access each element based on that order. But set automatically remove any duplicate value, and dictionary have a unique value. We cannot have a duplicate key, and because of that, we cannot include duplicate key and value, and they are not order. And accessing element, list and tuple are accessed, so they try to access the element using the index, but set, in the sets, we can access the element using their value, and in a dictionary we can access element using the key. So dictionary has a key and value pairs, so we have multiple keys and value. So to access the value, we need to pass the key and it will return the value. In the next video, in this, I think, following videos, we will try to look at different collection. Next video will be explain the list to you, and we will try dive to the details about each of these collection because they are really important to learn, and they are, I think, fundamental concepts, especially for data science and data analysis.